Okay, guys, I am back and we are going to finish this little cutie up. So yeah, this, some of you may already be really experienced at the whole, making these things, like albums. I am not. This is really only like the third albumy type thing I've ever made. So, it may not be the way you make it, but I make it the best I can, I guess. It might not be the right way, but it's my way, right? Not that anybody said anything or anything like that. I just don't want to offend, I guess, anybody who is really talented at making albums to be upset, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. Okay, so then I'm going to just glue these really quick. And like I said, I decided not to use those as closures because I don't think that these actually work real well as closures in this type of setting. So, but I do want to be able to label my stuff. So there's one, set that up there. Oh, I'm not done, am I? And you can, if, I know I've watched a few like album makers, and they use the double-sided sticky tape too. So if that seems to be more up your alley, you can use double-sided sticky tape too if you want, obviously. Like I just said, you know, my way isn't always necessarily the most expedient way either. And I'm kind of worried about that, about them being a little bit too long in the corners, but we're kind of going for the woodland look, right? All right, now that one's done. And there's my favorite one out of all the papers. I mean, I like them all, but I love these little leaves right here. Yeah, when you're using a tear ruler, it's not always an exact science. All right, there's two. Ugh. Boy, this one is kind of a messy project, isn't it? How come it is Fabri-Tac like strings up so quickly? I mean, it's a brand, like a brand new bottle, I mean, it's only been open a couple of days and it's already getting stringy. And as you can tell, I ripped some of that when I was using my tear ruler, but I'm still going to use it because I put ink on it and it kind of looks cool. So oh, quite what I intended. Something keeps rattling over on this other side here. Okay, 3 done. Let's get 4. I cannot believe that the summer is literally almost over, at least here. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to winter. I am not a winter girl. Everybody's like tired of the heat, but boy, I gotta tell you, I like it. I'm a heat girl. Like 80s is perfect. 80, 85, yeah. That's where I'm happiest. So have you, okay, so I think sometimes we all get lost down the rabbit hole. And I'm trying to get caught up on videos, along with, I've needed just like a couple of quick like 5-10 minute videos to kind of just fill the silence while I'm like cutting and whatnot. Have you guys ever heard of a comedian called Josh Prey? It's exactly how it sounds. P-R-A-Y. Oh my goodness, he's hysterical. And he's not wrong on a lot of it. I mean, I don't want to say he makes fun of race, but kind of like he's a black guy that lives in Florida. And by trade, he's a comedian. And so his like little sound bites are usually about 5 or 10 minutes. And he like will say, you know, one of his like key titles is like 5 things I learned with my bright friends, implying like white friends, about bowling. Like that one was by far the funniest little episode I have ever watched by a comedian. And Paul and I are very much like lighthearted, love to watch comedians, that sort of thing, right? Go to their shows. I think we've been to like Larry the Cable Guy and Jeff Foxworthy like 2 or 3 times. We like George Carlin for the most part. Towards the end of his career, he got pretty like bitter, so he wasn't even fun anymore. And of course that's opinion, but yeah. But this Josh Prey guy, like his whole bowling thing, I was like, oh no, that is totally a white thing. Like, it's hysterical. You guys just have to go watch it. Provided you're not going to take offense to stuff like that. Like, it's just funny. And then like one of the other funny ones that I watched was he did this one about like scuba diving and stuff, like with his bright friends. And like another one is like when he'll like go on the road or whatever, because you know, being a comedian, he's been in all kinds of towns, right? So he'll have friends like in just, you know, people that he's met or whatever, and they'll offer him like a place to stay so he doesn't have to stay in a hotel room. And it's hysterical. You know, he gives this is what to expect with your white friends, like when they offer you a room, like, and then he goes, and this is what you expect when you come and visit like your black friends. Like this is how it works. And it's hysterical because it's like, you know, it's, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how true it is on one side, but like most of all of his analysis of like just culturally is pretty hysterical, and it's pretty right on. Pretty right on, at least for the most part. And then he did one about like Scotland versus Ireland. Oh my, I died laughing. Like, you know, and about the mix and the max and the, yeah, it was hysterical. And if you read the comments in his videos, most people that are like from those cultures or whatever, you know, they'll correct him and he laughs it off. And, you know, like, you know, none of it's like offensive is I guess what I should tell you too. None of it's like you want, like, you're just mad, like you walk away mad. I mean, like the bowling one, he was like, yep. My white buddy, he's like, I didn't even know that my white buddies were bowlers, and now we bowl like every Wednesday, but, and there's always a but, right? And he does like 5 things that he learned. Like those of us white folk who bowl typically have our own bowling balls and our own shoes. And that's something he points out in his video. So it's really like innocent stuff. So don't think that like his stuff is offensive per se. I mean, I guess you could get offended if you really wanted to, but I think it's hysterical. Oh, and some of his bits are like what he learned from like his redneck white friends, about like tailgating and whatnot, like tailgate parties. I was like, yep. Like family reunions. I was like, yep. And then he does a bit about like Texas and their, I guess I should tell you what we're going to do. Okay. So now we're just going to mount this and we're going to center it as best as we can. Because remember, it's a little bit shorter, by 1/4 of an inch or so. So we're just going to glue this in. Yeah, so he does like the whole Texas barbecue, and he's like, you know, it doesn't matter what race you are. If you're from Texas, like barbecue is life. And, you know, he did a Chicago bit about like the Chicago pizza and how like Chicago people get like really offended if you don't think their pizza is like better than New York's. And yeah, he's hysterical. And it's all in good fun. He doesn't, I don't personally think any of his stuff is offensive, but ugh. I got glue everywhere. And I've been so good lately not to get glue on myself or other things per se. And it's because I hadn't been using Fabri-Tac much. Okay. So now what we got to do is what I've been doing, right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm not really sure. And I'm sure those of you who do this stuff can probably correct me, but I've been putting the side of the envelope that I want, like the pretty side out. And then I've been lining it up in there, sticking it over, and then I brought it up so I could get it kind of lined up. Okay, and this next part, I was kind of trying to decide how I was going to do it on camera per se, because it's all part of it too. So maybe if we turn it this direction, you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so this next part is I put on the other side of this flap, I'm putting glue here, and then a line up here, and a line across here, and then taking another pretty one, making sure your flaps are up, right? Squishing it in there. And this is another reason I'm using Fabri-Tac over my art glitter glue, is because I want to be able to adjust it if I need to. double check that nothing is glued down like this is. Okay. Okay, let that set for a second. We'll get this next one started. I think ideally, if I wasn't on video, I would be letting those sit for about 5 or 10 minutes. Again, you want to make sure your envelope is to the top. Line it up. Bring it up. Okay, same technique on this one. Put glue on the flap. Hopefully, your glue's not gonna get all ridiculous like mine. Okay, making sure your flap is to the top. It's kind of like sewing in signatures, right? Like you don't want to go too far off the wall, I guess, or like you got to double check your signatures. You got to double check these to make sure all your flaps are going right side up. Okay, now we're headed to the next one. I was thinking maybe I might want to, because that's not quite dry yet, but I think we'll be all right. Okay, I think I can hold it. Let me blob or wipe that off. Glue over there too. I guess that's the blessing and the curse of using or not using a fast drying glue, right? Or maybe even the thing about using double-sided sticky tape instead of glue, right? Is that I think with tape you could be 100% more accurate with it. Okay, again, flap up. A little heavy-handed with the glue. Okay, just double check in, make sure I did glue all my flaps on, because I did think that I had 2 extra, but it turned out I only had 1. Okay. All right. Perfect. Oh my gosh. Guys, I love these. They are actually, I think it took me to cut enough to do 2. It took me about 45 minutes, and now we're at about an hour. Let's see. If I figured like an hour for cutting and inking everything, and then we figured another hour for construction and putting these in there, because I mean, and like I said, you want to leave the top open, right? Because you want to be able to stick tall stuff like that in there. And I don't plan to like stack them up or anything. They're just going to sit like this basically over on my desk on that side. Yeah, so I think if you were to figure 2 hours for 2. So roughly about an hour, a little folio. I mean, within a couple of days, you could really have like a big store of these little guys, and they're super simple. And since we did use kind of like chipboard or recycled cardboard, they're pretty sturdy. I mean, they're not, I don't want to do too much to that one. How about we mess with this one? Because this one's good and dry. I mean, they're pretty stout. I mean, they're not going anywhere. I think the only thing you might like over time would be the flaps here. But I mean, if you're not really rough with your stuff, I think it'd be pretty cool. So yeah, so I mean, the design difference is because I did really want that on this one, but I had glued ahead of time, but they still look cool. I still really like them. Yeah, I mean, and you could really, I mean, you wouldn't even have to store ephemera, but if you had like a ton of these small scraps, I mean, you could definitely stick all your scraps up there, and it kind of keeps them out of the way and up, right? Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining with me. And thank you, Susan, for having me on your team. I really enjoy all the graphics that you have. So yeah, I guess I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.